The world is our classroom, and we're bringing you along. When you go into the desert, you see these Bushmen, and you look at the bush and you think, how do these people live here? There's no water, there's nothing. But really, there's everything you'd never need. I mean, the Bushmen have lived there for tens of thousands of years.
It was touching. They didn't have a lot, but they'd still be able to have a great life.
One of our guides just pulled out this big, colorful thing of like lollipops. To them, that lollipop was like a Christmas present. The huts really were just big sticks that they had found, and they'd stand them up and they'd put them in clay so they'd all stay together. There was a bunch of kids, they were all just sleeping in the dirt. I mean, there was one mattress, I think, in the entire place.
But I just feel bad because the winds would blow and they'd be cold.
We're all standing there in our jackets and we're all freezing and shivering, and there was one boy who had a bad cough and he was just wearing a pair of underwear, and then there was other kids that were just wearing like very thin t-shirts. You really felt like obliged to just send them all these clothes, so when we got back we kind of gathered up all the clothes that we don't really wear anymore and we sent it to them. One of the Bushmen decided to take us out on a walk, and we walked around for a while, and then she just stops and goes down to this little stick kinda and starts digging around it, and she pulls out this big gourd, and she gets a stick and she starts shaving off shavings of it, and then she hands it to me.
At first, Wyatt's like, I'm not doing that. And then Mom's like, you're doing it.
I have to say it was the worst tasting water I've ever had in my life, but it made me think about how much water we all go through every day and how much water we use. I mean, water's so scarce out there, but it's so plentiful here, and we don't really appreciate it.
That is so big!
And then they had this little tree. It was like a toothbrush on a branch. And I was like, wow. You basically use a stick for your toothbrush. I was totally serious because their teeth were so nice and clean.
One really big problem they have down there is a snake called the black mamba. It's extremely deadly. It's one of the most poisonous snakes in the world. And while we were down there, we had to walk around with these snake guards on because if it bit you, you'd die right there. And these Bushmen are just walking around barefoot.
Oh, this is not good.
Everyone was just walking, and I'm like, no, snake in the bush. Turns out to stick.
Later that night, me and one of the guides went into the town, and we just walked around and asked random just people if they wanted to come and perform a dance with us. And we filled up this entire car with a bunch of people, and we just drove back, and they just put on this huge dance for us.
I'd sometimes be puzzled, what would you dance about? And then now I see it as, I guess, living or being able to live with families and have friends. I guess if I could wrap sort of this up on the Bushmen, I'd say it was because they wanted to be happy.